Thank you. What an incredible community we live in. It's very unfair to make me listen to all these incredible thoughts and then have me stand up here and try to stay focused on my own. But I'm going to do my best. I want to talk about a new kind of small business in a different way without the boxes. And I heard someone make a good quote a little while back about no-box thinking. And when we talk about thinking outside of the box, you still have a relationship with the box. So let's just get rid of the box, and let's think about things fresh. So in here, from a product perspective, who has a little product idea in their mind? A little solution? Show of hands. Someone who's got a product. Is it the six-pack holder? Is it a paper clip? Come on, someone has to have an idea in here. I think there's more that have ideas, but you're ashamed, and you shouldn't be. I believe that America is built out of a fabric of innovators. But one of the problems we have is that we don't look to innovators to create economic development. We look for entrepreneurs. So I wanted to run an experiment. Just a personal challenge. I found myself with nothing to do one day. And I asked myself, could one person with less than $100,000 in capital, in less than a year, bring a new product to the market? And just for a kicker, could it be sourced entirely in the state of Michigan? Are we going to make a physical product within generally our community? And could it be done for low cost? So the lesson is, yeah, you're right. It's absolutely possible. So this little company I have has 0 employees. I'm not even a paid employee. Think of it as a hobby. I've got a day job, and I have a hobby that I invest in. And that investment makes a product that has a relationship to something that I'm very passionate about. So I was able to source everything in the state of Michigan except for product liability insurance. I had to go to a little company called Lloyd's of London to find product liability insurance for a product made in the United States that gets people out being healthy. That's another conversation. So this company is cash flow functional. Let's not even call it cash flow positive. Let's just say that it lives and breathes on its own. Every once in a while, I need to go to my number one investor, which is myself, and put a little bit of money into this product to keep the engine spinning on it. But by and large, the company can survive on its cash flow alone. And it did it within a month and a half of being on the market. And it was able to do that because there was a very, very low horizon to success. I spent no expense. I think I just got business cards a week before I went to a trade show. I didn't get decals, I didn't get stickers. I created a product, and I started selling the product. And when that product is able to sustain growth, then we can buy stickers. But until then, we're not spending money on stickers. We're going to spend money on selling the product. So this little company without any employees that's leveraging someone else's existing supply chain has a capacity to make 100 pair of this product a day on a 3-week lead time with 0 manufacturing waste out of 100% recyclable products. Now, those sound like pretty tough constraints to bring to market. It's actually not that difficult. It's not that difficult for me. But a lot of the people who have these ideas, it is difficult. So this gave me some theories. That, number one, is we have a backlog of innovation in the United States because we don't have an infrastructure to bring innovation to the market. Instead, we spend a lot of time looking for entrepreneurs that can bring products to the market. But what about all of the people who have an idea that on the corner of their desk they could develop, and if it's something they're passionate about, they could really enjoy that, and they could make some money. And after a period of time, maybe you could quit your job, because we need jobs. So the more people who quit their job, the more jobs will be available for other people. Doesn't that sound neat? So the other realization is that individuals have an incredible amount of leverage. This little company can operate day and night, 24 hours a day, with a smartphone. It can answer all the emails, I can make the phone calls, I can do my books, I can do everything that's required on a smartphone to run this business. Without any employees, I can manage an entire value chain. So how do you tap into this value chain? Well, I like to talk about this analogy of using Bebes and marbles. So imagine you have a glass jar, and the glass jar represents the economy. And I fill that glass jar with marbles. And the marbles represent the big conglomerates, the big companies, the big ideas that seem to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But as they get bigger, it seems also that they become less efficient. So you put the marbles in the glass jar. The jar is the economy, the marbles are these big businesses. In between all of the jars, there's an incredible amount of space that's available. And so you take these little less than $100,000 businesses, which are represented by the Bebes, and I put those in the jar, which I thought was full, but it's not full, and I quadruple the mass of that jar. In that jar economy, if 10 marbles fail, you're in big trouble. You got an economy meltdown. If 10 Bebes fail, it means a lot for the person who brought the Bebe into the economy, but the economy as a whole has a much better chance of surviving. So, what's this process of becoming a Bebe in the marble jar economy? We know we have this leverage, we know we have this technology that we can utilize to our advantage. An incredible amount of leverage, more computer power than even 10 years ago, that can allow one person to move a huge lever and participate in a global economy. Unfortunately, you're going to have to figure everything out for yourself still. And I think that that's one of the issues that we have, is that I have an idea. If only I would write a business plan about it, if only I could find capital for it, if only. And the fact of the matter is, you got to figure it out. No one's going to figure it out for you right now. So find your value chains, tap in, figure out what the product is, how to create a prototype. You have to talk to legal experts. You're going to have to talk to financial experts. You're going to have to talk to people, and you're going to have to figure it out. There's no easy way of doing it. But what if it was easy? What if everyone with an idea could just as easily execute on a small business idea as they could execute on their hobby? What does that do to the economy? What does it do to these linear value chains that we think of? We think of a value chain as here's the product, here's a consumer to buy it. What if we made value circles? What if the consumers started participating in the value chain like this? That starts to sound like more of a sustainable economy to me. Scale is relative. The big companies, the public companies, they have quarterly obligations to grow and perform for their shareholders. The small little BB companies, they don't have any obligation, especially if they're still doing their day job as they're growing their new enterprise. So what if you only needed to sell 1,000 products? There are 7 billion people on the planet. I don't care how dumb your idea is. There's 1,000 people that are going to buy it. After a while, what happens? You take 1,000 products, you sell them for $100. All of a sudden, you've got a 50% margin. You got $50,000 at the end of the year to do something with, to grow your business. So the scale doesn't matter as much. You don't have to, if you set a low horizon for success, You don't have to make it so difficult to succeed. It's not that difficult, but you do have to try and you have to engage. So I think that the biggest challenges in front of anyone who has an idea that wants to bring it to the market is knowing what to do next. That's probably the number one hurdle. I get this a lot. Dave, I have a product, not sure what to do next. I know I'm going to write a business plan. I don't even think writing a business plan is a good idea. Make a product and start selling it and figure out the other stuff as you go. Why not? What are you going to do, fail? Big deal. It's a hobby. You can fail at a hobby. It happens all the time. The other big problem, and I think that it's changing, is the concept around economic development. So on one hand of economic development, you have what I call business beauty pageant contests. We're going to have a business plan competition. We're going to get 500 people to submit a business plan. 499 of you are losers. Sorry, there's nothing we have for you. But that one person, we're going to give you $10,000. See how far that'll get you, and maybe a little bit of advice. The moment someone tells me they think it's a better idea to go after a business plan competition to get their business off the ground is the minute I don't think they believe they can sell their product. Because now it's easier to go get money for something that you can't get its own momentum for. And so then what happens? You're not in the business of selling your product, you're in the business of getting capital to start a business. Maybe you'll write a business plan. That money, you can hire someone. The other side of the spectrum is economic development needs big wins. We need $100 million stories. What's your $100 million story? Sorry, I don't have a $100 million story. My story is only $5 million. We're not interested in $5 million stories. That doesn't do enough for our economy. That's a mistake. I see a lot of great $5, $10, $15, $20 million businesses that fail chasing the $100 million dream. But imagine if you spent 3 years and took $100,000 and turned it into $1 million company. Seems pretty substantial from your own perspective then, doesn't it? So there's a gap in economic development. What are we going to do about practical, simple little innovation? What are we going to do to take the backlog of innovation that we have sitting here idle because we don't have an infrastructure that takes it to market? So here's what I want you to take away from this. That it's not so easy that everyone's doing it. Is it going to become easier? Absolutely, it's going to become easier for people to be able to do it. The technology keeps getting better and better. You need less and less people to pull this stuff off. There might also be a reason why you need to do it, because there might be less opportunities for people who can't create value in these value circles. Because if the big corporations are starting to fall under their weight, and they're learning that they can be more efficient, and they need less people to execute, you better be prepared to figure out where you're going to add value in the value chain. And what better way to do it than leverage your hobby and monetize it and eventually turn that into your job? Because I got to tell you, it's pretty cool. I haven't worked since 1996. It also means that I'm not eligible for unemployment benefits. And I haven't been since 1996. Because I wake up every morning and I figure out a way how I can insert value into the value chain. So I think the question is aren't you obligated to leverage this new power that an individual has to participate in the value chain? Thank you.